take rejection as someone blowing a bugle in my ear to wake me up and get going, rather than retreat. Hi, I'm Linda Watson-Call. Thank you for joining me for today's episode of Dragonfly Soup. Probably one of the hardest feelings we have to deal with is rejection. Knowing that our idea, our product, our being can be rejected holds many of us back from doing some of the things we really want to do. We might attempt to achieve our goal, but that fear, the fear of rejection, it stops us. Let's say you want to write a book and you wonder, what if no one wants to publish it? You want a better job, but you're afraid they won't think you're qualified for it, even though you feel you really are. You want to ask a girl or a boy to a dance, but you think, what if he or she says no? For every one of these examples and all those that you think about, the most frequent reason for not doing it is the fear of rejection. Spoiler alert, everyone gets rejected at one time or another. If you've never been rejected, then you're living way inside your comfort zone. And you're not growing, because the only way to grow is by taking risks, trying something new or different. So, how do we cope with rejection? More importantly, would we even attempt to do something if there is a chance that we could get rejected? Well, as I said, we all need to grow. We need to expand our abilities. We need to test ourselves to become who we are really destined to be. Now, we're all familiar with Dr. Seuss and his fabulous books. Did you know that his book, and to think I saw it all on Mulberry Street, received 27 rejections before a publisher accepted it? Now, if 27 sounds like a lot, the book Chicken Soup for the Soul received a whopping 144 rejections before it became a bestseller and then a series of popular motivational books. Most authors and other artists deal with rejections continuously. They have to believe that the book they are writing is good and important. A rejection to them only means that a person at that publishing house didn't see the book as something they would be interested in. Dealing with it means to move on and keep submitting it to others. Someone, somewhere, will accept it. If Jack Canfield stopped submitting Chicken Soup for the Soul after the 100th rejection, we'd never have that book or all the other inspirational books that have since been published. So even if we can see that a book rejection really isn't a personal rejection because all the publisher sees is the paper, what about a job? You're sure you have the right skills. Or maybe this is your first job that you're interviewing for, like at the local pizza place. In either case, you're there. The interviewer sees you, talks with you, and then decides you're not the right person for the job. You are devastated. You ask yourself, why didn't I get the job? Was it my looks? What I wore? How I talked? You go over that interview at least 100 times in your head trying to figure out why you were rejected. Well, this is a hard one, but maybe it had nothing to do with you. And I say this only if you went to the interview prepared and properly dressed. It wasn't you. Some companies have a policy that says they have to interview internal and external candidates for all positions. So maybe the position was already filled and the interview was an exercise in futility, a waste of everyone's time. Did you realize that Elvis Presley was told that he wasn't going anywhere in the music industry? He ought to go back to truck driving. Marilyn Monroe was told that she should become a secretary instead of a model. Ouch, that one really hurt. Talk about getting personal at a job interview. But neither of these people listened. You might say they rejected the rejection and continued to move on and focus on their goal. Well, that's fine and well with a job, but what about a real personal rejection? A rejection that doesn't involve anyone or anything but you. Your best friend turns on you and spreads rumors about you, or worse, shares things that you said in confidence. Your boyfriend, girlfriend, soulmate leaves you for someone else. This type of rejection is worse, definitely worse. How can you cope with knowing that the person you thought you'd spend the rest of your life with leaves you? After you have a good try, scream, or whatever you do to get rid of the pain, find a person you can talk with. A person who can be objective of your relationship with that other person. But this is also a person who can show you the good that is still in you. Then, take care of yourself. Eat properly, get exercise, and do the things you love to do. Remind yourself of all the great things that are still in your life. And most importantly, don't focus on negativity or sit too long on that pity pot. Take the advice of Sylvester Stallone. I take rejection as someone blowing a bugle in my ear to wake me up and get going, rather than retreat. We all experience rejection. It's up to us to listen to that bugle, do something, and keep moving. Because after every rejection comes an acceptance and the promise of a beautiful life. If you feel moved, share in the comments or a private message how you overcame a devastating rejection and what was the greatness that followed. And be sure to click like for this week's episode, and while you're at it, share it with your friends. You might also want to check out our new gift shop where you can purchase items like this Dragonfly t-shirt or other gifts. The link is below. And I'll see you next week right here on Dragonfly Soup. Here's to our transformation and our best year ever.